All right, hey guys, Mr. Kyle Myers, Mathematics, and let's just jump right into it. This is dividing polynomials. We're gonna just take the thing on the left and divide it by the thing on the right. So, for instance, on number 1, another way to write this would be like this. We write the first thing over the second thing. All right, first thing is on the top, second thing's on the bottom. If you write it as a fraction, it would be like that. But what they want us to do is actually kind of like long division. So if you remember long division, um, let's say 3 divided by 111, right? So 111 over 3 would look like this, right? So top number goes in the box, and then you just kind of go one step at a time. 3 goes into 1 0 times, so that's just 0. And then you bring down the next number, 11. 3 goes into 11 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. 2, bring it, right? So you just go in, and then this is going to go in evenly. So I'll have 0 remainder. But there we go. So 3 goes into 111 exactly 37 times, no remainder. If there is a remainder, let's say the remainder is 1, I'll just put 0 because that's actually the remainder. 0 over 3 is how you can write the remainder. You don't necessarily always write it like that. And your teacher might have you write these things a little different. But I wanted to step back for a second and do this real quick because that's exactly how we're going to divide this, right? Exactly the same. It won't really feel like it's the same thing because we have letters. Squeeze this in here. So like this. Okay, so it won't really feel like it's the same thing, but it basically is exactly the same thing. There's two things, though. That's what makes it seem like it's different, because there's two things over here that we're dividing by. What you do is you focus on the first thing and the first thing to figure out exactly what one thing to put. So what I mean is, you take the first thing, m squared, right? Because we're dividing top by bottom, right? So it's like m squared divided by m is what? M squared divided by m is m. So you take the first thing inside the box, divide it by the first thing outside, assuming it's in order. Assuming it's in order, so the powers are decreasing, right? So biggest power first, then less until you get to the number. And that's what we do each time. So that's kind of what we did here, right? With the 11, I said, okay, well, 11 divided by 3 is 3 without going over, right? It doesn't go in exactly like that without going over, but it goes in 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9, and then I subtract the 9. So I'm actually going to do that in a second here. When I multiply this back out, when I multiply the 3 by the 3, I get 9. I'm going to do the same thing, except I'm taking m and multiplying it by m minus 8. So I need to distribute m times m minus 8. M times m is m squared. M times minus 8 is minus 8m. Okay, I'm distributing the m, so it kind of looks like this. M minus 8. Right? M times m times 8. And that's where I get this. Now, next, so look back here. This is our example we're going to come back to, at least for number 1. So I multiplied 3 by 3, and I get 9. But then what do? I subtract the 9. 11 minus 9 is 2. So I'm going to subtract all of that. It's, again, I have to distribute. So there's distributing, which makes this seem different than the regular thing I did here in green. It makes it seem like it's different, but it's not. I'm just having to distribute things because I have more than one term that I'm dividing by and subtracting by. So I subtract this whole thing, which means it's minus m squared and plus 8m when I distribute that minus. Then I just, subtract down. So m squared minus m squared, that cancels. And it should always cancel. If it doesn't, if that first term doesn't cancel, you did something wrong, because you want that first term to cancel. Second term will sometimes cancel. You didn't do something wrong if that cancels, but it usually won't cancel. Okay, so the first term should always cancel. The second term might, but usually not. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Negative 7m plus 8m. Negative 7 plus 8 is the same thing as 8 minus 7, which is 1. m. And then what did I do? Okay, I had 11 minus 9 is 2, and then I brought the 1 down. So I bring the minus 11 down, right? It is pretty much the same thing. And then I do it again. So notice I had 21 here, and then I'm dividing 21 by 3, and that's where I put the 7. 21 divided by 3. That's how I figured out what. The other thing you could say is what times 3 is 27, or 21, I mean. And 7 is the answer to that. So you can do it the same way if you want. You could say what times m is 1m. The answer is 1. Or you can divide it. It's whatever way makes more sense. So I'm going to do dividing. M divided by m is 1. So I put plus 1. And then I'm going to take that and multiply it back out. 1 times m and 1 times minus 8. I have to distribute the 1, although when you distribute 1, nothing really happens. And then I want to subtract, so I do minus plus, and that turns that into a plus. So now it's 1 minus 1 is 0, and negative 11 plus 8 is the opposite of 11 minus 8. 11 minus 8 is 3, so negative 11 plus 8 is negative 3. 11 minus 8 is the opposite of negative 11 plus 8. Some integer tricks. I've done a whole worksheet on integers, by the way, so if you're still having trouble with integers, that will be one of the videos in this series, actually. This series on Algebra 1 worksheets. It's one of the first videos in the series. You have to go back. But I have the whole playlist. You'll see the playlist pop up at the end of the video, so you can either scrub ahead, or I might just have it in the description below. So go check out that video if you need a refresher on integers, because they can be tricky. They can be very tricky. We're actually done at this point. I know I'm done because there's no way I can divide 3 by m without getting a fraction. That's how you know you're done. I can't divide 3 by m without getting 3 divided by m. What is that? 3 over m. Well, that's a fraction, unless m was 3 or 1. But m is like, we don't know what m is, so we're done. That's it, actually. That's the remainder. So it's remainder of negative 3. And that's the answer. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to consolidate a little bit for the rest of these, because notice I'm like, this took up part of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4's space here. So the answer that this worksheet will want you to say is m plus 1 minus 3 over m minus 8. That's the way the worksheet will have you word it. Your teacher might want you to word it like this, or they could be okay with just the m plus 1 and the r negative 3. Those are like the two most common ways. Your teacher might have you do something a little bit different, maybe, and if they do, they'll tell you exactly how they want you to say it. But those are some pretty common ways to say the answer. So, all right, so that was number 1. Now, as we move on, I'm going to take less and less time to work out the problems, because I'm going to show you what it looks like more and more to work it out faster and get the answer quicker. And also for time reasons. If I work out all of these problems like I just did number 1, it would take a really long time to watch this. So of course, if you want to skip ahead to a problem that you're stuck on, go ahead. If not, just watch through and that sort of thing. Also, one of the things that I highly recommend on any math worksheet video you watch, any math video ever, is when they start working out the problem, pause the video. Right, so this video too. Pause the video, try to work it out yourself, and if you get stuck, play the video, right, like on paper or off to the side or in a separate tab, separate window. Play the video until you get unstuck, and then as soon as you get unstuck, pause the video again and try to keep going, right? That way you're forcing yourself to try to do as much as you can on your own, and that's the fastest way to learn this stuff. So anyways, on to the next one. I'm going to go a little bit faster on number 2, mostly because of space, because normally I don't go that much faster on the next one. I kind of just slowly go a little faster, but for space reasons, I'm gonna have to go and do this with a little bit less shown work. So we're gonna jump right into the box here. So n squared minus n minus 29. And then n minus 6, right? And this time I'm actually going to align it with the thing. So n squared divided by n is n. Okay, n squared divided by n is n. N times n is n squared. I'm going to multiply it back out now. N times n is n squared. Then I do n, because I'm distributing. N times negative 6 is negative 6n. Okay. Now, I'm going to subtract that, right? All of that. I'm subtracting all of that, so it's minus plus. So then that cancels, and it should always cancel. Minus 1n. If it doesn't have a number, it's a 1, right? The n's don't go away when you subtract or add, unless they're exactly the opposite of each other. Negative 1 plus 6 is the same thing as 6 minus 1, which is 5. So that's 5n. Bring this down. 5n divided by n is 5. 5 times n is 5n. 5 times negative 6 is negative 30. Right, I want to subtract all of that, so it's minus plus 5n minus 5n cancels. It should always cancel. And a remainder 1, which is actually not bad. So I can write this one of two ways. I can either say remainder 1, like that, or I can say plus 1 over n minus 6. Right? Either way, I'm gonna write it the same way that the worksheet has you writing it from here on out. This way right here. This way is easier. So obviously, if your teacher's okay with just putting r and then the number, that's less writing. So yeah, go for it. Otherwise, just do it the way that they want you to do it, so that you don't get counted off for any points or anything. So I'm going to switch colors a little bit as we go, just kind of a different color every two problems here, just to keep things lively. But let's jump right into the next one here. So n squared plus 10n plus 18. Okay. First number goes in the box. N plus 5. N squared divided by n is n. N times n is n squared. N times 5 is 5n. Now, I'm going to do this a little bit differently. Instead of putting a parentheses, I'm just going to change the signs of each, because I'm going to have to distribute that negative, right? So this is faster. Boom, boom, change the signs. N squared cancels. 10 minus 5 is 5. You have to be careful doing it this way because, you have to make sure you see the negative that you squeezed in there in between the plus and the 5. So 10 minus 5 is 5. 10n minus 5n is 5n, that is. Bring the 18 down. 5n divided by n is 5. 5 times n is 5n. 5 times 5 is 25. Minus, minus. That cancels. And 18 minus 25 is the opposite of 25 minus 18, which is 7. So negative 7 minus 7 over n plus 5. Right? And that's the answer for that one. Right there. All right, next, we've got k squared minus 7k plus 10. K minus 1. I believe that's a minus 1. Yeah. So k squared divided by k is k. Then I get k squared minus k, minus 1k, minus plus. That cancels. Negative 7 plus 1 is negative 6k. Bring the 10 down. That goes minus 6. So I need to multiply minus 6 and k, and I get minus 6k. Minus 6 times minus 1 is positive 6. Then I change the signs. That cancels. 10 minus 6 is positive 4. So my remainder is 4 over k minus 1. All right, starting to get the hang of it? All right, let's change color and move on. So here we go. And nothing new has really happened yet. It looks like on number 6, things are a little bit different. But so far, it's been pretty much the same. Let's see here. Minus 21. N minus 7. So n squared divided by n is n. N times n is n squared. N times negative 7 is negative 7n. Minus plus. Cancel, cancel. Negative 3n plus 7n is 4n. Drop the 21. That's going to go in positive 4 times. 4 times n is 4n. 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. Minus plus. Cancel, cancel. That's going to be positive 7. So positive 7 over n minus 7. Kind of bled over into the blue there, but it's all good. All right, and that's it for number 5. Okay, number 6. This is a little different. This one's a little different because it's 2 things divided by 2 things. When there's a gap, you have to fill in the gap. You've got to have a placeholder. So this problem is very tricky. Whenever there's a gap, you've got to have a placeholder. I don't have an a. I have an a squared. I have a number. I don't have an a, just a regular a, right, to the power of 1. Right? If you don't see the power, it's the power of 1. So I have 0 a's. I have 0 a's. Right? So if I have 0 a's, then it's just a squared plus 0a. Okay. Minus 28. And a minus 5. So then I do a squared divided by a is a. So a times a is a squared. A times minus 5 minus 5a. Minus plus. That cancels 5a. And then I bring the 28 down. And then I have plus 5. So plus 5, 5 times a is 5a. 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. Minus plus, that's minus 3. So remainder is negative 3. Minus 3 over a minus 5. And there we go again. So if you don't do that, if you don't have that placeholder, it's way harder of a problem to do. If you forget, you might get the problem wrong, to be honest, because it's a lot harder. Let's see. So a squared minus 28. I would do a, and then it'd be a squared, and then minus 5a. But then you're going to think, oh, well, 28, right, because minus plus, and then, oh, 28, negative 28 plus 5, right? But they don't go together. They don't go together because that's an a term, and that's not an a term. Not an a term, right? So this, not the way to do it. You got to have the placeholder. You got to. If you forget, you'll see it. You'll see that it looks weird because you'll have an a term right underneath a number term. And then you'll be like, oh, yeah, that's right. Right? So it might take you a couple times to remember, but you'll see it and you'll be like, oh, that's a little weird. That's a little off, right? So you got to have the placeholder if there is a gap. You got to put in a 0 and have that placeholder in there, right? If you ever played like baseball or something with not enough players, you do like Ghost Man or something. You ever heard like Ghost Man on second? I don't know, just stuff like that, I guess. You know, you gotta have a placeholder. So, moving on. 7. This one's the same as before, so we're gonna go through this one pretty quickly here. 14, 38. R plus 8. So that's gonna be R squared plus 8r minus minus cross cross. 14 minus 8. That's going to be 6r plus 38 plus 6. 6r plus 48 minus minus cross cross. Minus 10 looks like the remainder. Minus 10 over r plus 8. Just like that, right? Now I'm starting to go pretty much at the pace that I would normally solve these at. Right, so I'm already pretty much there. I sped up a little bit faster just because I needed to go a little bit quicker through these because of the space. I don't have a lot of space to work these out. But yeah, that's pretty much what you do. So x squared plus 6x minus minus cross cross minus 1x plus 3 minus 1. So that's minus 1x minus 6 plus plus, that's 9. So 9 is the remainder. Right, pretty much going at the pace that I would normally solve these at. Right? Now I can go a little bit faster, but you know, I don't really think it's needed. I wouldn't recommend going any faster than this. You usually have enough time to solve it that fast. If you are taking a quiz or a test where you have to solve it faster than that to do all of the problems, your teacher's probably tricking you or something. It's like in the directions it's hidden, like, oh, you don't actually have to do this quiz, but it's like you have 5 minutes to do like 10 of these, and you're like, ah. Might be one of those. They might be what's the word? I forgot the word. But like they're tricking you. They're tricking you to think that you have to. Anyways, So we have a little bit different this time. 2x squared minus 17x minus 38. 2x plus 3. Now we have a number in front of the x. That's a little different. We still want to do it the same way, but it is going to seem a little different. It's a little harder. It's going to get harder as we go here. That's pretty normal for a worksheet. 2x squared divided by 2x is x. So x times 2x is 2x squared. X times 3 is plus 3x. Minus minus, cross cross. Negative 17 minus 3 is negative 20x. Drop the 38. And then I just do it again. Negative 20x divided by 2x is minus 10. You have to be a little bit more careful with the division here. It's not as easy anymore. Minus 10 times 2x is minus 20x. All right. Minus 10 times 3 is minus 30. Plus plus, cross cross. Minus 8, so the remainder is minus 8. Minus 8 over 2x plus 3. Just like that. All right, we got another one where we have a gap. We have to put in a gap in there. So 42x plus 0x, sorry, 42x squared plus 0x minus 33. I'm telling you, if you forget, it's gonna mess you up. So then we divide 42 divided by 7 is 6, so that's 6x. I'm going to put this kind of over here, 6x, like that. 6x, so 6 times 7 is 42, x squared. 6 times 7, again, 42, except just an x that time. Minus minus, cross cross, minus 42x, minus 33. And then kind of the same thing happens, right? So except this time it's minus. Minus 6. So minus 6 times 7 minus 42x. Minus 6 times 7 minus 42x. Sorry, 42, just 42. Plus plus. Cross cross. Negative 33 plus 42, same thing as 42 minus 33, which I believe is 9. And that's our remainder. So plus 9 over 7x plus 7. And there we go. So just like that. And we're on to the second half. We're on to the second half, right? Here we go. All right, again with the gap. X squared plus 0x minus 74. X minus 8. So we'd have x squared minus 8x minus plus, cross cross, 8x minus 74. Then we have an 8. 8x. 8 times 8 is 64. Minus plus, boom, boom. 74 and 64, when we subtract, we get negative 10. So negative 10 is the remainder there. And there we go. All right, next. Again, with the 2's, you just have to be a little bit more careful with the division here. 7p minus 39. 2p minus 7. So that's going to be p times 2p is 2p squared. P times 7 is negative 7p. Okay. Minus plus, cross cross. That one almost looked like it was going to double cancel, but it didn't. Yeah, so then that's going to be plus, that's 14p minus 39. And that's going to be 7. 7 times 2 is 14p. 7 times 7 is 49. Minus plus, cross cross. That's going to be 10. So we have 10 as a remainder, 2p minus 7. There we go, just like that. All right, next. Change colors. All right, this one's a little bit longer. So it's just going to be one extra step is really all it is. But yeah, this one is a little bit different than the ones we've done so far. Just a little bit. Just one extra step is really all it turns out to be. So we'll start out right here. N squared, right? N cubed divided by n is n squared. N squared times n is n cubed. N squared times 2 is 2n squared. Minus minus, cross cross. 7 minus 2 is 5, n squared. Drop the 14. And we do it again. 5n squared divided by n is 5n. The other thing too that you should notice is that unless you have a double cancel, which normally you don't, if you just cancel just the first two things, which we normally do, right? Well, you should always do. Then the power will go down by 1. So if your power doesn't go down by 1 on the top here, right? That's a 2. This is a 1. You don't need to write the 1, but it went down. The power goes down by 1. So as we get to harder problems, you want to kind of keep that in check, unless there's a double cancel, and then you'll go down by a factor of 2. So anyways, 5n times n is 5n squared. 5n times 2 is 10n. Minus minus, cross cross. 14 minus 10 is 4. 4n, drop the 3. 4n divided by n is 4. 4 times n is 4n. 4 times 2 is 8. Minus minus, cross cross. 3 minus 8 is negative 5. All right, yeah, that was a little bit longer. Okay. And just like that. All right, same thing for this one. Pretty much the same thing as 13 here, so we'll just write it out here. P cubed minus 10p squared plus 20p plus 26 p minus 5. All right, p cubed divided by p is p squared. P squared times p cubed times 5 is minus 5p squared minus plus cross cross. Negative 10 plus 5 is negative 5p squared. Drop the 20. All right, negative 5p squared divided by p minus 5p times p minus 5p squared. Minus 5 times minus 5 is positive 25p plus minus cross cross. Lots of sign changes here, right? There's a lot of sign changes, so you have to be really careful. Now, I mean, I am not going really slowly through it because, for time, I want to be able to go through the worksheet fairly quickly. And if you need to slow it down, you can always slow it down. You can change it in the settings. You just go to settings and then playback speed or whatever it's called, and you can do like 0.5, 0.75. Or if you want to speed it up, right? If you want to watch it even faster, you can do that too. So if I'm going a little too fast or a little too slow, you can speed me up or slow me down. But you want to be careful with those sign changes, right? Because just one sign change is all it takes, and then the whole problem's wrong, right? So minus 5 times p minus 5p. Minus 5 times minus 5, positive 25. Plus minus cross cross 1, remainder 1. That was nice. We haven't had any remainder zeros yet. And we haven't had anything double cancel yet either. I hope that we get at least one of each here. We'll find out. V cubed minus 2v squared minus 14v minus 5. V plus 3. All right, v squared. All right, v cubed. V squared 3, that's 3v squared. Minus minus, cross cross. Negative 2 minus, negative 2 minus 3, so negative 5v squared. Minus 14v. So minus 5v. Minus 5v squared. Negative 5 times 3 is minus 15v. Plus, plus, cross, cross. V minus 5. Looks like that's just going to be a 1. 1 times v is v. 1 times 3 is 3. Minus, minus, cross, cross. Negative 5 minus 3 is minus 8. 8 over v plus 3. Squeeze that in there so it doesn't overlap with the yellow there, or the gold. All right, again here. X3 minus 13x squared plus 40x plus 18. X minus 7. All right, so we have x squared, x cubed, x squared times x squared times 7, x squared minus plus, cross cross, negative 13 plus 7. So that's going to be minus 6x squared plus 40x. Then that's going to be minus 6x minus 6x squared. Minus 6 times minus 7 is positive 42x. Plus minus cross cross minus 2x plus 18. So that's just going to be minus 2. Minus 2x plus 14 plus minus cross cross, and that's a positive 4, so plus 4 over x minus 7. Whew, all right, we are almost done. We're getting there. We've only got a few more. It looks like 4 more, actually, because all right, look at that. There's the answers. We are almost done, almost there. All right, this one's a little bit backwards. If they ever try to flip it around on you, just flip it back the other way. just flip it back the other way. You want it to be in order because it will mess you up if you don't put them in order. All right, so make sure they're in order. If they're not, you got to rewrite them in order. Notice, oh, they haven't done that to us yet, actually. So I went back to check because I was like, oh, wait, did they do that to us on 15 or 16? No, they did not. But they're doing that on this one, on 17. Both things are not in order. So I rewrote this in order, k plus 3. And then on this one, I need to write that in order as well. So k cubed, that one is first. But then minus 4k squared should be next, right? The 2 should be next after the 3. 3, 2, then 1k, then 18. All right, that was all out of order. But now it's in order. It has to be, otherwise you will mess up. It's not like a guaranteed thing. It is possible to get the right answer. I'm not going to be like, oh, like, no one has ever put these not in order. And, like, I don't want to hear in the comments, like, oh, yeah, well, I don't do it in order and I get it right all the time. Well, good for you. Normally, you want to have them in order. And that way it makes things a little bit nicer. All right? So k squared times k cubed, and k squared times 3 plus 3k squared. All right, minus minus, cross cross. Minus 4 minus 3, that's a minus 7k squared, minus 30k. All right, so then minus 7k times that, minus 7k squared, and that's going to be a minus 21k plus plus, cross cross. And let me write this off to the side maybe a little bit. I'm gonna go a little rogue here. Negative 30k plus 21k, that's minus 9k. I'm gonna write this off to the side because I have some space over here to the right, but I don't want to bleed into number 19 too much. I already kind of started to do that. So minus 9k, then we drop the 18. Okay. You might have to do this depending on how much space you have. If you're doing this on the worksheet, you could always do it on a separate sheet of paper too. That way you don't have to worry about space. But I am cramming it all into this worksheet here because I want to save the trees. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, minus 9k minus 18. Oh, right, so we would just divide, right? So minus 9, okay, so minus 9k. Minus 9 times 3, minus 27, plus plus, cross cross. That's, what is that? That is 30, 35? No, 36. Why is that? I'm messing myself up here. Yeah, 30, 35. Hold on. Why is this messing me up here? Hold on. I'm having a brain fart right now. Minus 18, minus 26. Why am I not? Oh, 40. There we go. 45. I was like, yeah, because 35 doesn't divide by 3. There we go. Okay, minus 45. Ooh, blonde moment. Forgot how to math for a second. I guarantee you that's happened to you as well. Don't say it hasn't. Don't say it hasn't. I bet it has. All right. If you've never done that, you haven't done enough math yet, because that will happen to you eventually. All right, we got to reorder them. K minus 1 divided by, let's see, what's first? K cubed minus 5k squared plus 8k plus 4. There we go. Okay. So then k squared, k cubed minus k squared minus plus, cross cross. That's a 1, so minus 5 plus 1 is minus 4k squared plus 8k. Then we have minus 4k minus 4k squared minus 4k times minus 1 is positive 4k. Plus, minus, cross, cross. 8 minus 4 is 4. Okay. And drop the 4. And it's 4. 4 times k is 4k. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. It's a minus, that's a plus. I am waiting for the double cross, but it's not doing it. They're giving me none of them that do the double cancel thing. All right, that's that one. Hopefully it'll happen on the last two. Let's find out. So that's not that different. Let's go with this one. Like a nice deep purple. All right, let's see. So these are in order. I feel like they're gonna have a double cross here. They're gonna double cross me. 32x minus 7. All right, let's see. X minus 4. I'm waiting for it. X squared. Let's see. X squared. Okay, x cubed. Minus 4x squared. Minus plus. Boom, boom. Minus 1x squared. X squared. Drop to 32. That's minus 1x, or you can just put minus x. Minus x squared plus 4. Oh, I forgot to put the x. Plus 4x. I am actually running out of space here, so I need to write it over here. That's going to cross. Negative 32 minus 4 is negative 36x. And then drop the 7. And that's minus 36. All right, so minus 36x. Minus 36 times 4. Yikes. Well, in order to times by 4 easily in your head, you can either memorize it, or you can double it twice. Oh, you just need to know how to double things really well. I would definitely recommend learning how to double things really well. If you don't, it's an essential skill in mathematics that I recommend. Okay, so 36. If I double it, 72. And then double it again, 144. Oh, look at that, 12 squared. So 36 times negative 36 times negative 4, positive 144. Minus, minus, cross, cross. Oof, that was rough. Okay. So then we have minus 151. Ooh, no wonder that's one of the last problems. X minus 4. Ooh, okay. So then we have 20. Let's see if we can cram this in here. I might have to erase this, actually, and put this. You know what? I wonder if I can just move it. Grab it and move it. Can I do that? Maybe. Maybe not. All right. Let's just do this. Let's do... So draw, back to the blood orange thing, and we'll do this 4k plus 4. That way, whenever I go to save this worksheet, or no, that was a minus actually. Whenever I go to save this worksheet, so if you want this worksheet, by the way, you can actually just shoot me an email. I'll have the email in the description below, and I'll give you this worksheet with all the stuff on it, all the colorful things here, all written out. And I save all of these worksheets for this series in my files. I'm going to put them all on my website. If they're not already there, you might already be there by the time you watch this video. So go check out my website. If you don't see them on my website, just shoot me an email, and I will send them over to you so you can have this one and whichever other worksheet you want the solutions for. And yeah. So you can go check that out. My website is in the description below as well. It's myersmathematics.com, just like the channel. And you can go check it out. And I have tons of free resources. I can talk. Resources on there. My main resource is going to be this just general math guide for any math class you're in. Just kind of a quick, like, what are the 5 things that you need to avoid in order to get math problems right? So it's kind of a double thing. It's like what 5 things to, not do wrong, and what 5 things to do right. Kind of is the idea there. It's a little simple PDF guide that I put together. It's in detail, but I try to keep it succinct as well. I know it's kind of like those are opposites, but just go check it out and you'll see for yourself. It's free. Go check it out. It's on my website, myersmathematics.com. But anyways, last one here. So 10k squared. All right, 10 times 5 is 50. Okay, it's going to be cubed. Then 10 times 4 is minus 40k squared. Minus plus, boom, boom. That's 50k squared minus 35k. That's going to be a 10 again, except 10k. 10k times 5k, 50k squared. 10 times 4, negative 40k. I have not seen a double cancellation. That's so weird. All right, so anyways, 5k minus 7. And that's just going to be 1. Just a 1 there. So 5k and minus 4. Minus plus, boom, boom. It looks like the remainder is 3. 3 over 5k minus 4. All right, so I didn't see any double cancellations. I'm not going to show you one because this worksheet is already long enough as it is. But there will be a double cancellation. Maybe you can ask your teacher about it tomorrow in class. Say, hey, what happens when 2 things cancel? And if they don't know what you're talking about, it's basically like if the 40k was the same as the 10k, right? If they were both like 10k squared and they would cancel because they have the opposite, like both of them cancel. So that's what I'm talking about. See if the teacher will probably know what you're talking about. Like, oh yeah, double cancellation. Hopefully they'll go over that because that might pop up on the test, and this worksheet didn't cover that, which I'm a little surprised at. There were some gaps, some things were out of order, but the other thing that you might want to watch out for is that double cancellation because that might throw you off a little bit, but not too bad. Yeah, and that's it. So if this has been helpful, like I said, I've got some free resources on my website. You can like, subscribe, all the things, and other than that, have a great one, and I'll see you next time.